Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today I'm doing 4 looks with the new Oden's Eye Christmas collection, the 2 new palettes Snow Dream and Hey Reindeer, and then a couple looks with last year's palettes that they restocked, the Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve palettes. I'm going to give you the details, how much they cost, do a look with each one, give you my thoughts about them all, and yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get too far into the video, if you have not already, I would love it if you could consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It is totally free to subscribe, and I would love to have you back again on the channel and talk with you in the comments about all things makeup. So here is the dealio, okay? So the Christmas Eve palette and the Merry Christmas palette. They came out last year, they came back, they're sold out, they're not restocking this year. I asked you guys in my Black Friday haul, which I will leave linked if you're interested in seeing, did you want to see any of this stuff? And I had a comment that said, even though these are gone, you wanted to see some looks with these just to live vicariously. Maybe they'll bring them back again next year, who knows? Or maybe you can just shop your stash and get similar color stories. So this is look 3 and 4 at the end of the video in case you're not interested in that. They're last if you want to exit out early. But first off are these 2 palettes. They are still available from Oden's Eye. They are retailing for $43.90 US dollars each. And then I believe you can use a code, an affiliate code off of them. I don't have one, but lots of people do. I think I used code Angelica from Angelica Nyqvist, but like I said, there's a lot of influencers that you could use their code just to save you some money, but these are still both available, so I'm gonna do a look with each of these as well. And yeah, I think that's all I need to say about that. Let's go ahead and get into the 4 looks and my thoughts about these palettes at the end. Alright, so for the first look, we are using the Snow Dream palette. This is one of the 2 new palettes that is still available, and this is the look that's gonna be the very Christmassy, like red and green look, aka my nails. But what I like about this palette is that it's not a primary green. It's just kind of like muted green. The red's pretty red, but the green is a little muted, or you have like a little minty version. So it's like Christmas, but not like hit the nail on the head Christmas, which I like. So I am just gonna take a Laura Lee Los Angeles L26 brush to start with. I've already got eye primer on my lids, and I'm gonna start with Boots, which has this adorable little snowman with a snowflake in his belly, and I'm gonna put that in the crease on both eyes. I absolutely hate messing up the embossing. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. I don't like go out of my way to avoid shades with embossings, but I'm just like, no, whenever I have to mess it up, because they are really, really cute, and I do enjoy that part of just the aesthetic of makeup. So next I'm going in with a slightly smaller brush. This is the P2 from Ace Beauté, and I'm gonna take Snowflake, this kind of light, not really mint, but it's definitely a lighter green. Interesting that they named it Snowflake, but okay. And I'm gonna put that in the inner portion of the eye, kind of in the crease, but also kind of on the front portion of the lid. This one has quite a bit of kick up in the pan, so I would tap my brush if I were you. I think this one looks like it has a lot more kick up in the pan than that first shade Boots did. I'm trying to build it up, but it's not a very pigmented shade. Maybe you can see. It's not my favorite when shades like this won't build up. I know I'm very fair, but I would like for the light shades to still be pigmented and actually show up. Otherwise, it's kind of like, what's the point? I'll probably end up covering that with some shimmer because you can't really see too much is even there. All right, next I'm gonna take a Morphe M456, and I'm gonna go into the shade Guests, which is this red, and I'm gonna start building that up. Again, hate to mess up the embossing, but just a little bit of that in the outer corner. That's quite pigmented. See, the darker shades seem to be a lot more pigmented than the lighter shades, and I know you might think like, well, it's lighter, it's gonna be less pigmented. Not necessarily. It can be a light shade but still pigmented so that it shows up that light shade. So far the light shades are kind of like this, where it's like it's there but it's practically dusted away into nothing. It's not very visible. And I've just blended it to get it to this point. Now I'm gonna take, I think maybe, am I gonna do the same brush? I don't think so. I think I wanna switch here. I'm gonna use a Morphe M441 and I'm gonna go into Ornament, which is this green. And I don't really wanna mix it with the red because that's just gonna look muddy, but I wanna take a little bit of this up here in the crease just to give it a little bit of green, since the Snowflake shade didn't really show up and do too much for us with green. And we've got this moment right here, nothing too deep, but a little bit of dimension for us here. Next up, I'm gonna take my Ulta Beauty Glitter Primer and my flat brush from Clionadh Cosmetics, and I'm just gonna add a bit of that on the lid on the places I'm planning on putting the shimmer. I kind of do this in like a faux cut crease, but then also I lay it like at a diagonal at the end. I just think that is the most flattering for me, but play around with different shapes. It took me a long time to figure out what I think at least looks good on me. Everybody's face is slightly different, so just keep playing with it. The fun thing is it washes off if you don't like it. All right, so I think I'm gonna do Tradition, this kind of red shimmer on the outer portion. And this is more of like a smoother traditional shimmer is what it feels like. So I'm gonna put that up against the matte red. I'm not gonna take it too high because I don't wanna cover the green that I have going up there. I like that this kind of has like gold reflect in it as well, that's fun. Kind of one of my Johnny half lashes with this, but I'm on a time crunch and I have 9 minutes left only today, and I don't think I'm gonna have time to let my glue set and stuff. And then on the inner portion, I'm gonna go with Mary, which is this lighter green shade. And this one is a bit more textured, a bit more putty feeling, which is my preferred shimmer, but I don't mind that there's multiple different types. If anything, having multiple different types kind of helps give it dimension too, with different textures. Gives it more dimension. And this is kind of coming off, I think, more frosty than green on the eye, in my opinion. I don't dislike it. It may just be the studio lighting too. Sometimes I go out into natural light and I'm like, oh, well, that looks totally different than what it just did in front of the camera, in front of all the studio lights. That's fun. This frankincense shade, this hollow shade, very interesting. I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and put it kind of in the middle, like between where those two shimmers meet. I don't know if that's really adding too much or not. I'm just dusting like a light amount on it. Here it is, the controversial shade. Yeah, it just kind of looks like a clear base with hollow reflect in it. I don't feel like it really added too much, but maybe when I'm in direct sunlight, I'll see it more. And then I'm gonna take my Morphe M560 and add some of Mary, the same shade that I put on the front portion of the lid in the inner corner as well, since it does seem to have a translucent base. Even though it's green, it'll work as a light enough color in the inner corner for me. And yeah, I mean, there's one shade called God Jewel. Don't know what that is. But it's not super dark, so I think I'm gonna do a liquid liner with this look, add some mascara, lips, etc., and I will be back to show you the final look one. And here is the first finished look using the Snow Dream palette. And now we will go ahead and get into look number 2 using the Hey Reindeer palette. Okay, so the reindeer palette, so the Hey Reindeer palette, to me is the least Christmassy when it comes to the color story. Obviously, the packaging is very Christmas, right? The packaging has never been in question for me with Odin's Eye. It is, even the details on inside, very Christmas, right? The color story, not so much to me on this one in particular. Now, does that mean I don't like the color story? No, I wouldn't have bought this with my own money if I didn't like it, but it's not Christmas to me. We do have a little reindeer embossing on that shade. And then, I don't know, this one that says cider, What is this embossing supposed to be? Does anybody know? Is it a cup of cider with steam coming off? I don't know, it doesn't look like that to me. I can't tell what it is, just being honest. And then we have two different snowflakes. This snowflake embossing has little hearts on it, which I really like. And then there's another one in this brown, but that one is a different snowflake design. There you can see both of them, how they're different. So you have two snowflakes, cider, question mark, you tell me, and then a reindeer. So we're gonna go into this one. I have already primed my lids with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I prime my eyelids with literally every single eyeshadow ever. So nothing to say about the quality of this one. And I think, so I'm wearing a pink Sailor Moon shirt here. And this reindeer shade, I hate to mess up the embossings, guys. I really do, but we're gonna have to use this shade. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my crease in the front part of the eye here and just start to get this little bit of a flush of a pink color. I'm using an M441 from Morphe if you're curious about the brush. First impressions, just with one matte shade of course so far. It is the normal good matte quality I expect from Oden's Eye at this point. I have many Oden's Eye palettes. Next time I do a sale or something, I may do a ranking of all my Oden's Eye palettes. I have never filmed one of those, but I have, oh my, let me think, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 palettes I think from them at this point that I could rank. Nice, so we just have this little like Pepto-Bismol pink moment going here so far. And then also in the crease, but on the outer portion here, I'm gonna go into the matte called Holly, which is this kind of deeper, kind of gray blue. I like blues like this that are not just straight on blue. It's a little bit deeper, but that's why I wanted it for the outer portion of the crease. And I'm putting this here just based on the plans that I have for which shimmers I'm going to use. I'm going to use one that looks like a little plummy purpley. So of course, you know, when we mix and meet in the middle here with the blue undertone and the pink, the plummy purple shimmer, you see where I'm going with this. Color theory. Using those public school art skills. I've not taken an art class, you guys, since I was in the 7th grade. So that is flowing really nicely from one thing into the next. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that bluey gray color also on the outer corner. Again, so when I lay the shimmer, it kind of has something to flow into nicely. I do always tap my brush in the pan before I apply, because I personally like to do my complexion products first most of the time, and I'm not trying to get fallout, and I know you are not trying to get fallout either. So with this matte formula, tapping before you go in I find is a good idea, because there can be a bit of excess on the brush otherwise. I'm going to take whatever's left here, no additional product, and just run it on the outer portion underneath here. Cute! Okay, so I feel I will probably need a glitter primer. Just looking at this texture and knowing what I know about Oden's Eye formula and things I've tried in the past. So I'm going to take my Ulta Beauty glitter primer. You can use whatever glitter primer. This is just what I happen to have on hand around to use. And I'm going in with a Clionadh Cosmetics flat brush here and just kind of making a faux half-cut crease with the shape that I'm applying this glitter primer in. And that is like the area that I'm going to apply the shimmers here. And then I'm going to use the same exact brush that still has like a little tackiness on it because of the primer. And I'm going to go into Wreath is the name of this shade. It's kind of like purpley right next to the bluey gray that I used for the crease in the outer corner. I'm just gonna pick up some of that on the brush. It's picking up really nicely. And I'm gonna put that out here. Yeah, it's a pretty smooth shimmer. Some of the shimmers are a little more textured. There's like multiple different formulas of shimmers in this palette. And this one's a little bit smoother, and I find the sparkle just really pops and comes out a bit more with a glitter primer with this formula from this brand. If you don't have a glitter primer and you're like, oh man, I would like to try that, NYX makes a pretty affordable one that I've heard good things about. I've literally never used anything but this Ulta Beauty one. Just because that's what I somehow acquired in my collection. I might have bought it, I don't know, but it's lasted me quite literally for years. So I'll probably try the NYX one once that is used up, but I am on a low buy, so I'm just using what I have. Okay, that's looking really good. And then in the front little bit here, and maybe wrapped even into the inner corner, I'm gonna go into Christmas Ham, which to you probably just looks like a white. I'm sure you can see the texture of the shimmer. However, in real life, it has some pink reflex. So just like I did kind of the purple out here with the blue and where it mixed the pink and the blue, I'm gonna do the white with the pink reflect in the inner portion here. And I'm just gonna go ahead, oh, this is a different texture. I was gonna say I'm gonna go in with my brush here and pick it up on the same one, the other side. This is way more putty feeling than the other shimmer. So a lot more textured, a lot more squishy. Ooh, that is pretty. Ooh, I love that. I love that. This is the kind of formula I really prefer in a shimmer. It's much more of like a topper shade. And if you ever hear people say it's a topper shade and you're not sure what that means if you were to put this shade just on like a blank lid with nothing underneath, you would really see your eyelid still. It's kind of like a translucent base with reflect in it versus some shimmers that have more of an opacity. You could lay it down by itself. This, a topper shade, means just that. You could top things with it. Like you can top it on top of other things because it has that more translucent base. Now, of course, you can just use it by itself. I think if you don't layer it, kind of how I'm doing right now, it gives it more of like almost an iridescent, like ethereal look to it. So it just depends what you're going for. And I am taking a smaller brush here. This is a Morphe M560, just to put a little bit of Christmas Ham in the inner corner. This is very nice, you guys. I don't know, did Oden's Eye have this like squishy putty formula in any of their previous palettes? I don't remember them having this. I've tried formulas like this from other brands, other indie brands, but I don't remember Oden's Eye having it. And I think I'm gonna take a little extra. Sometimes I do this if I have extra. Put it on the tip of my nose and the bridge here, like a highlighter, so that my highlighter like is the same thing as my inner corner. And then I'm gonna take this brush. This is a JH09 from Morphe, and I'm going into Christmas Ham. I'm just gonna top my blush a little bit with it. Oh, that's pretty. See the shine that just came in here? Yeah, that's Christmas Ham. Oh, that's very pretty as a highlighter slash blush topper as well. Oh, okay. I'm super happy. You guys, this is like the least Christmassy one that I was like not sure about, I feel, color story wise. I mean, like, not I don't know how I feel. I thought I would like the color story, but I don't know. Some of it just doesn't look super cohesive, I think, when you look at it, like the layout of it, but this is lovely. This is absolutely lovely. I'm gonna take now a Morphe M410, just like a flat liner brush, and I'm gonna use, what is this called? Snow Wish, the dark brown here, and I'm just gonna put that along my lash line. My looks, to me, if there's one thing I need, it is something on the lash line. It doesn't feel complete and finished to me if I don't have something up against the lash line. Now that might be gel liner, that might be pencil liner, that might be liquid liner, it could be eyeshadow in today's case, but to me, I need something. I don't even necessarily wing it out, but there you can see with the brown shade along the lash line how it looks different than this one. Like I said, it's not a big wing, but I do usually either diffuse or just somehow angle it on the end so that it helps give it a little bit of a lift in my mind at least, and I much prefer this to just leaving it blank like this. This looks a little naked, and I know some people put a lot more shadow on the lower lash line, but I am very crinkly under here and it just settles and doesn't look, in my opinion, the best on me when I put eyeshadow underneath. So this to me helps, I feel like, give it that little extra something it's missing. So I'm gonna apply the shadow to this eye, curl my lashes, put on mascara, a lip, the works, and I will be back to show you the final look for the Hey Reindeer palette. Alright guys, and here is the completed look for the Hey Reindeer palette. Again, super happy with the quality, the packaging, everything when I created this look. Not a Christmas color story to me. So if you're okay with that, then I think you would really enjoy this palette. This is just first impressions for this video. You know, I haven't used every single shade, but the 5 shades I used to create this look today were wonderful. I had absolutely 0 issues. And yeah, let's move on to the next palette. So for looks 3 and 4, I'm going to be using the Merry Christmas palette and the Christmas Eve palette. Now, these two are no longer available, unfortunately, but I had someone in my comments say they would still like to see a look with these because they just wanted to live vicariously, and I totally get that. I do that with a lot of palettes myself. And you know what? Who knows? They came back with them this year after selling out last year. Maybe they'll bring them back again next year. Maybe you already have them, or maybe you just want to shop your stash and find similar color stories. So for both of these, I think I'm going to stay away from the super obvious Christmassy colors, especially since I'm posting this on Christmas Eve. Maybe you're not seeing it until after Christmas. And just to show you guys all of the not Christmassy things that you can do and still play with these palettes. So I'm going to start with the Merry Christmas palette first. This one has the same embossing that was in the Hey Reindeer palette that I still don't know what it is looking at it. Like, this is 2 days later after that one. And it's got 2 different, oh no, 3 different snowflake embossings here in these mattes here. None of them are the same, and none of them are the one with the hearts and the snowflake like in the Hey Reindeer palette. So I'm gonna go for a neutral look with this one, and I'm gonna start in the crease with this shade right here called Gingerbread, going on a Laura Lee Los Angeles L26, and I am working to try to get these up for you, these looks. So I am doing one eyeshadow palette on one eye and one on the other, just so you can see both palettes and a look, and I can still manage to have time to edit this and get it up for you guys. So while I'm making this look, what are your Christmas plans? I would love to know. Are you going someplace? Do you have family? Are you just staying home? My fiance and I just stayed home on Thanksgiving, and honestly, it was lovely. We had a wonderful time together. Or if you're just hanging out with yourself or with your pet, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna be going over to my parents' house, and my grandma and my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, and my fiance are all gonna be there. So we're just gonna spend some time together, which will be very nice. Next up, I'm gonna take this P2 brush from Ace Beauté, and I'm gonna go in with Hot Cocoa, this color right here, which I would think Hot Cocoa would be brown, but this looks more burgundy, so we'll see. But I'm gonna put that mostly in the outer corner here. Yeah, that's definitely more reddish than it is brown, so that's interesting to me that it's Hot Cocoa. I would have thought it would have been a lot more chocolatey, warm brown. The mattes are blending just fine, just how I'd expect from Odin's Eye formula if you're familiar with it, and I'm just taking any excess on the brush down here. Yeah, that looks fine. Next up, to even deepen it up a little bit more, I'm gonna take a Morphe M456 and I'm gonna go in with Happy Ending, which I think is a black right here. I'm just gonna go a little bit along the lash line. Oh, that is very pigmented. Blend that out a little bit into that hot cocoa kind of burgundy shade. And it's gonna give this neutral look a little more smokiness. If you are like me, you wanna look kind of fierce on Christmas. It just is what it is. I like to look fierce. Like, my family's taking all of these photos, I might as well look amazing in them, right? And then we'll try some shimmers. I am gonna use my Ulta Beauty Glitter Primer again on my flat Cleonda brush. And we've got a few neutral options in this Merry Christmas palette. Santa Star is a gold. That's a pretty intense gold. We also have Little Star's like a little pinky, but it's like a pinky gold. I don't know. And then Snowman, it looks like kind of a bluey, maybe greeny gold, hard to tell. So I think, and Jingle Bell. Jingle Bell's like a green gold. It's hard to see the flips, I understand, on camera. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Santa Star. And this is like the putty formula. Ooh, very intense, very textured. Goodness gracious, a little of this will go a long way. That is so foiled. Oh, that's glam, very glam. I really like that a lot. And if you have hooded eyes like me, take it into the crease a little bit, otherwise it just gets lost when you open your lid. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead with Snowman on the inner portion, which is, like I said, a little more bluey green, but it's not so crazy that I think it's gonna make it like not super neutral anymore. It's like you're neutral with a pop of blue, if you will. Interesting color combination up against that gold, but I like it. And then I'm gonna take a little Morphe M560 brush and go into Snowman again and just put that in the inner corner. I think I need a little bit more of hot cocoa. It just got lost, that reddish shade out here. And here is the Merry Christmas look. What do we think? I like it a lot. I'll add liner and lashes and everything once I'm done with the other palette. But I'm gonna move on now to the Christmas Eve palette. And this one is much more cool toned, much more blue. It does have some purple in there and some green pops. And it's the same with the snowflakes and the embossing as the Merry Christmas palette. So I'm already primed on the other eye too. And let's go in with an L26 from Laura Lee Los Angeles. And I'm gonna start with Ice Crystal. It's kind of like matte gray up here on this eye. And I'm just going to put that in my entire crease. I know some people aren't a fan, but I love a good gray shadow. I love a good cool toned look. And I feel like this is much more warm with the red and the brown, that gingerbread in the crease. So maybe we'll go more neutral but cool toned on this side again, just so you can see some different things you could do other times of the year that aren't necessarily Christmassy or holiday, because obviously red and green or like blue for, you know, snow icicle is always an option. Next up, I'm gonna take the same brush and I'm gonna use a little bit of Softly. Not too much because I don't want it to pull too green, but I just want a little something out here. We have a little color. I don't want to just do gray and silver. I do think it would be gorgeous. I don't think I'm going to do it in this look, but it would be gorgeous to pair this Softly kind of army-ish green that I'm using right now with, it's right next to Wonderful, the purple, this green and purple together. Ooh, I think that would be a really pretty combination. And there's really only two like deepening up shades, either Christmas Eve, which is in navy, or Night Sky, which looks a little more green. I'm gonna take a Morphe JS6 brush and use Night Sky, which is the one that looks a little bit more green. Looks to be quite a bit more kick up and fallout on this shade than some of the other mattes, so just be careful and tap your brush, or do your complexion first so you're not getting fallout on your foundation and having to deal with trying to wipe all that away. I'm trying to match like the mapping of the look I did with the other palette. That way at least the structure of the look is the same. So I am gonna wear this for the rest of the day. And now we are on to the shimmers. So more of the Ulta Glitter Primer. I really do think glitter primer helps with making these Oden's Eye shimmers pop, just my personal opinion. And then again, I want to go kind of neutral-ish. So there's this like darker feeling time? What is feelting time? That's one complaint I had about these palettes, and why I didn't jump on them the first time is I'm like, can y'all fix the misspellings? But trust me, I understand that's not the first language, but there's gotta be someone you can have to spell check this stuff. That like, what is feelting time? I don't even know what that's supposed to be. That like, instead of the typo, I don't know. What is feelting time, you guys? That's irritating to me. I'm actually gonna go in with the Slivery Dream. Again, I think that one's supposed to be Silvery Dream. That's annoying to me, especially since they brought these back a second year. You couldn't fix that stuff? You sold out of it last year. Did they have extra packaging? If so, why did we just get a restock? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. That's a critique I had about these and why I was kind of irritated by them and didn't try hard to get them the first time. But I heard people say the formula was so good that I decided to get them this time. And the formula has been very good to play with. I have no complaints about the actual color stories or the content of the shadows themselves, but that should have been fixed on the packaging. Ooh. Ooh. I like that this isn't like straight up silver. It's almost like gunmetal taupey in a way. I like that a lot. Ooh, I'm very impressed with this, guys. And then on the inner part, I'm gonna go into Snow Light, I think, which is more gold, and that might like look more like this, but we'll see how similar it is. Oh, it's definitely lighter than the gold on the other eye. That's pretty as well. They're definitely different looks, but here is the Christmas Eve palette look on this eye. So what do we think, you guys? I'm gonna go ahead and do some liquid liner, mascara, lip, all of those things, and then we'll be back to talk about these and close out the video. And here are the final looks for the Christmas Eve palette and the Merry Christmas Eve palette. What do you guys think? Oh, let me switch them. These are the sides they belong on. I am really glad that I picked these up, I'll be honest. I think out of all four, this one's the color story I enjoyed the most. But I did like all of them. There's not one that I felt like was weak or bad. Like, they're all pretty good. And yeah, I just think this look ended up being my favorite, but I don't dislike any of them. I think they're really nice quality. If these come back, maybe consider getting them. The new ones, this one in the Hey Reindeer, they're still available if you wanted to pick them up. And yeah, guys, thanks so much if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Let me know. Did you pick up any of these palettes? Have you ever tried Oden's Eye? Have you ever even heard of them? Let me know all of your thoughts, whether you're just shopping your stash. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!